Well, good morning. We are working on number 5 here. SQL injection union attack, retrieving data from other tables. So, same injection point, the product category filter. We're going to use a union attack to retrieve data from other tables. We're going to get data from users, the column username and password from the user's database. We're going to retrieve all username and passwords. And then we're going to use the information to log in as the administrator user. Cool. All right. Well, let's get started. So, courses, There we go. Now, we want retrieve data from other tables. Data from other tables.py. And then let's pull up the one we did yesterday, which was find column containing text, and our template. So we'll start with this. I'm not going to go into the SQL stuff because we did that yesterday, and I'm sure it's like exactly the same or very similar. But I did pull up this because we will need to do a lot of this over again. And that's this stuff. So determine number of columns. Boom. What we're going to do, since we're using this the second time, let's go ahead and make this into a function. So def determine number of columns, and this will need to take the URL let's just do the URL for now. And let's modify this so it handles the URL. Null's list, let's log this at the beginning. Num columns, while length of nuns less than 50. That looks good. Category equals. Right here we need, instead of shop.get, we're not going to use shop for this. We're going to do just a request using the URL. So if we need to know so here we need no proxy. If a no proxy, we're going to do that. Else, we're going to do something different. So response equals requests.get. We need the URL category. We want exploit URL equals URL plus category. And then we need, do we need anything else here? No, I don't think so. All right, else. Again, we'll use proxies. utils.proxies. and verify equals false. All right, remember we need the URL to the category filter here. So we can't just give it the base URL to the site. All right, so if response quote equals 200, break, nulls list, if number of columns is, and then we'll return num columns. All right, that looks pretty good to me. Let's set up the shop site so that it has the category URL. So let's go to shop, and I'm going to add in self.category URL, call it the category filter URL equals, if you remember, we did it down here. And just, in fact, steal that. Self dot category filter, and then we don't need this or the F. And then let's update this. Well, self dot category. We're going to name that category URL plus the category. All right. Hope that makes sense. So basically, we added this stuff here so that down here we just need to add the category, which will append after the equal sign. So our previous scripts should still work. But we also gave it a property category URL, and that we can pass into this as the URL. When this works, it'll append this to the end of the URL, which works well for us, and that should determine the the number of categories or number of columns. All right, so we need shop equals shop, and we need args dot URL, args dot no proxy, and I'm not going to give it the other thing, which is session. URL no proxy session. So I'm not going to do a session. And then once we have that done, we can go ahead and just determine number of columns. Num columns equals determine number of columns. And we want shop dot category URL and shop dot no proxy. All right, so if that succeeds, or if it fails rather, let's exit. We can't do anything if the number of columns doesn't, if it can't find the columns. So if num column, if not none columns, remember it'll return none if it doesn't have a concrete value. So if not num columns, we want log dot error could not determine number of columns exiting. And then we'll do sys.exit -1. All right. Next, we need to determine which of the columns, once we've found the number of columns, we need to determine which will accept text, because that's what we want to get out. We want to get username, password, so we need to find out where we can put text. And we did do that right here. So let's go ahead and again put this into a function. Def find text columns. And let's see what we need here. Okay, so for I in range 0 to num columns, nulls list, we need to find nulls list. Oh, no, we don't, because it's defined right here. Nulls list equals null times number columns, nulls list I. We're going to add the A. We're going to join that. Category equals. So we need to do the same stuff we did here. Exploit URL. And get rid of this. Text columns. Append. Text column string. And then we need to, if let's put this in an if text columns if text columns, and let's move that down. So if text columns, this array that we started is not empty, we'll create a string and then print the string in the log, and we will return text columns. So we'll return the list. Everything else looks good. We got a category, we got exploit URL. Cool. Text columns equals find. I don't like how we have find and determine. Let's change this one to determine. Determine text columns. This needs something, doesn't it? It needs URL and no proxy again. No proxy. Shop.category. URL shop.no proxy. All right, so we've got number of columns and which of those will handle text. So let's run this to see how we're doing. Make sure everything's working to this point, and then we can discuss how we're gonna do everything after this. So we need num columns too, duh. Num columns. Determine num columns. Shop undefined name from shop import shop. We should really add that to template. I don't think we've not used it. Let's do that. All right. So what we expect, if everything is working, is we will get an integer here and a list here. Print may complain converting those to text, but let's try it anyway. And that should give us how many columns we have to work with, and then which ones will accept text. Once we know that information, we can build out our query to get the data from other tables. All right. Let's go ahead and get this going. While this comes up, remember to like, subscribe, help me out there. Let me know how I'm doing. If you like it, you hate it, whatever. All right. So we still have a shop. I didn't even check that, but thankfully. Let's go ls python retrieve hidden data. Boom. All right. Oh, whoops. Gifts or one. Did I? We want retrieve data from other tables. Ha. All right. Columns is 2. Text column, they both accept text columns. Awesome. So we can do, remember we're exploiting a union select. So because they both accept text, we can just do union select username password from users. I don't know if that's something I need to show in SQL or not, but like seriously, all we're going to do, because number of columns is 2 and both our text, is we're just going to type in, instead of this nulls here, username, comma, password from users. And that should get us all of the username and passwords. All right. So we got category, union select, and I'm going to change this to username, comma, password from users. And we know that information because that was all given here. Users, username, password. Username, password, users. All right. Exploit URL equals, we want shop.category URL plus category. And then we want the same as this. And then let's print response if args, no proxy, text columns is never used. We don't really need it for this one. I mean, we should use it, but let's not. All right. What's wrong with this one? Oh, it's not an F string. Okay. Let's fire this off. See what we get back. Uh-oh. Category. All right. Look at this right here. Carlos, username, password, username, password, username, password. Sweet. So we were able to successfully pull usernames and passwords, all of them, from the database, which is awesome. So I'm really happy about that. It says that in order to solve it, we need to log in as and use the information to log in as the administrator user. All right, so let's go back to our trusty regex, import re, and we need, so we'll find a tr th with administrator, and we'll do multi-line, and then grab the td, or we can just start here, th administrator, and then td, and put our capture group there. Let's do that. So pattern equals re.compile. We want raw, and doesn't matter what quote I use. Let's do th administrator th. I think the / is okay. We'll check this, and then dot asterisk question mark td, and then we want the dot asterisk question mark and the capture group and the td. Now here we want to make sure it's using both the multi-line, because these are split on different lines. So we want to make sure we do that, and it's also split on, we also need the dot to equal a different line, because we have in between the administrator th and this td, we're using this dot, and so we need that dot to include carriage returns line feeds. All right, and we can do that with flags, I think. No, not here. Not there. We need it in re.compile, and then we want a pattern m for our match, pattern dot search. We want the text resp dot text flags equals re dot multiline and re dot all, I think. Print m1. Remember, it will be our first, the first one will be what we match. The second one will be our capture group. So let's test that out. See how we did. No. Flags is an invalid argument for search. All right. What if instead of compiling it, we did our e.search, and then we'd need to add the pattern, what we're searching, and then how we're searching it. Hey, that worked. And do you see? We actually got the password. Woo! All right, so we can do admin password equals m1. We can remove that, and all we have to do is log in. We already have this. All we have to do is provide it with a username and password. So shop.login log in. It is just log in, right? Log in with the user, which we know we're logging in as administrator, and the password, which is admin password. Let's just change this password. I mean, why not, right? Be rude not to. Shop login, administrator password. Once we log in, shop dot is solved. Should be it. If this works, we successfully retrieved all username and passwords from another database through SQL injection, extracted the administrator password, and then was able to log in. That's pretty awesome. And survey says, crap. None type has, it did not work. So what, getting login page, shop login, self login URL. None type has no, oh crap. It's because it's using session. Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna give it a session. Session equals request. I don't like this. What's a better way to do this? I don't know. I don't know what a better way is. I don't like how we have to create it. Alright, let's just send this. Get the W. Getting login page. Attempting to log in. Woo! We did it. Where's our thing? Come on. Show me the thing. There we go. We solved it. Pretty awesome. Determine the number of columns. We got back is 2. We found out which of those could accept text. Turns out they both could. And so we just plugged in username, password from users. There'll be more difficult ones in the future where, we can't use, it won't be this simple. But, yeah, that's it for this. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much. Goodbye.